Hey everybody, it's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at Irving Plaza, and today we are here with the band that loves to say fuck Wednesday 13th. Thank you for your time.
That's right. Yes, I say fuck a lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
which is
love it.
weird. And on my latest records, I've noticed I've been saying it less. I need to pick it up.
Oh no, you're selling out, man.
I'm selling out
Oh no.
finally.
Right. But it's so great to have you here. You know, Condolences is your latest record, and I know you're working on some new music now. Do you just have a conclusion on the record cycle for Condolences?
Yeah, this is a sort of the wrap up on the tail end of that record. We were planning to have the record out a little earlier this year, but we decided, or I decided, that I needed to work on it a little bit more and put a little more into it, and so we stretched the release date out so we get to ride this last Condolences death wave out. So, but yeah, we're all ready for the new record, and it's given me enough time to get that prepared because the new record's totally, absolutely different. It's more like a movie record.
Really?
Yeah.
So that you just answered my next question. The new record's not like just a direct follow-up to Condolences. It's more or less kind of its own entity.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like I mean, every record is just like I want to go to the next level on it, and without repeating ourselves. So it was kind of like Condolences was the heaviest record we had did up to that date, and then when we started writing new music for this record, I was like, well, I don't know if we need to go heavier. We need to do something different. So we added a little more keyboards and things like that, and just literally it kind of brought more of an atmosphere to it. And we had Roy from Stone Sour come in, and he did a lot of the keyboard stuff that I wanted to do. We actually took a lot of sounds from the old '80s films that I like a lot of the synth and John Carpenter keyboards and Gary Newman style synth and stuff, and we added that into some of the songs, and that was better than us trying to go heavier because it actually just gave us this kind of it's new for us. It's, but it's still very much Wednesday 13. It's just we just kind of up the voltage a bit.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Wednesday 13 does have a fairly experimental style of music. I see like a metal side to you, a rock side, and so many other things. Does that make it, by being an experimental band, does that allow a little more flexibility in trying new things when making new music?
It's wide open at all times. Like, with me, is like we never ever. I never wanted to fit in a genre of stuff. I never, I didn't even hear the word goth till way after, someone called us a goth band. I'm like, what is goth? What is that? Like The Cure, Bauhaus. I'm like, no, we're nothing like that, So, and then we started getting called horror punk back in the day, and I never heard that term before either. And I was like, okay, I guess so. It's just kind of been, I like everything, I like punk, I like glam, I like metal, I like R&B, I like everything. I like outlaw country music. So we're just kind of this mixture of all that mixed in with movies and sitcoms, and that's just kind of what, my childhood, what I grew up on,
Yeah.
and so it makes it's cool for us because there's no rules. We don't have to stick to, oh, well, that's not the Wednesday. It's like everything we do sounds like us. It's just all over the place. So we get to try new stuff every time, and I like the sound of people drying their hands. It's something new,
Exactly.
something new.
You never know. And, it's funny you mentioned, like, the whole goth thing because I feel like that term is used, like, the European use of the word goth, like, Typo Negative is considered goth, but Lacuna Coil is considered goth. Evanescence is considered goth. Like, I don't know what makes a band goth. Is it the imagery or the sound? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think anyone really knows. That word's just been thrown about so much that people don't really even know what it means. They just think, oh, if you have black hair, you're goth now. It's like, again, I don't care what people call me as long as when they stop talking about me or calling me stuff, that's when I'll get worried. So
Exactly.
as long as they're calling me something, I'll be fine.
Awesome.
So
Now, you mentioned by saying, like, there's no rules with your music, which is awesome. And I think it says a lot with bands that you've toured with, too. Like, you're touring with Cradle of Filth and Raven Black right now, but, you've also toured with, I think you did, like, a tour with Once Human. That's a very heavy band as well. So have you noticed, like, a different reaction to your music depending on, like, the tours that you've been on?
well, that's the reason why, whenever we would do our headline tours and stuff, we could, if we could ever pick a band or something, like Once Human, for example, was a band that I'd been listening to and just I loved them, and then it came time to tour, and I was like, who do you guys want to go out with? And I was like, I wonder if this band would go out with us. And we hit them up, and they were like, yeah. And we were like, really? You know, so for me it was kind of like I didn't know if the audience would dig it. I thought they would, you know, but it was more or less I wanted to see them play every night, and then luckily it worked out for their audience, and people just like a good show. You know, I think that's what I go to concerts for. And we want to see a good band, whether they're, you know, not the same style as Wednesday 13, but Once Human is just a killer band. You know, and like, you know, it's not the same as us, but at the same time they're a killer band, and you appreciate it, and you can tell they put their all into it. So to me that's what it's all about, you know, bringing out bands like that. And but people just, you know, like I said, with the whole goth tag and things, people just assume like it was Cradle of Filth goth because we're black. I don't know what we are. So we're just, yeah, we're there.
Yeah. Now, in addition to having an experimental style of music, there's also a lot of lyrics that go involved in there as well. Is there ever a time where maybe you come up with a lyrical subject or concept matter, and maybe that helps determine the outcome of the music, or are lyrics always kind of like secondary?
They kind of come later after the music. I mean, I'll have like a notebook of ideas I'll occasionally write in and things like that. But like, for example, like when this record, when I turn it in like next week, I'm not going to write anything or touch anything for like a few months. I used to write, but you know, but if I get a song title, I'll write it down, and I may see it 8 months from now, and I'll go back and revisit it. But yeah, usually it's the music that comes first now, and I'll write lyrics later. But occasionally I'll hear something on TV, somebody will say something, or I'll come up with something and I'll write it down, and that's how the lyrics come up. But before it used to be, I'd write everything, all the lyrics before, and write the music later. I'd write it in my head, so it's never been a set thing on how I do it. I just do it.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, the Nike method, just do it.
I just do it. It just comes out that way. I don't know.
And the next question I have, and it really is kind of like the real reason why I was excited to speak to you, is because Wednesday 13 is more than really just, you know, seeing you guys live is a different experience than just listening to your music because of the imagery that's portrayed on stage. And, you know, you're touring with Raven Black and Cradle of Filth. You know, Danny and Raven are their own characters in themselves, as well as Wednesday 13. What I was curious is Wednesday 13 a character that came from an idea of your own music, or or was like the imagery kind of, did you have to hear music to come up with the imagery of Wednesday 13, or was it like two separate entities?
I sort of, when the music is being wrote, I sort of paint this picture in my head as well. It's like I'm thinking about the live show as well as the song. I'm not thinking about it later when it's, oh, well, now we got a tour. What do you do with the show? Like I think about songs and think about the live setting, and I kind of do it all at the same time because, you know, a long time ago I didn't think about that. I used to just write songs, and this is with my prior bands and things, but now all I do is tour, so I always try to put myself out in the audience and think from that point of view of how to do things. But yeah, the Wednesday 13 thing, I just, you know, when I started out as the solo thing, I started that in 2004, and the first record came out in 2005, and it's just developed into what it is now. You know, like I tell people all the time, it's like I'm more confident now than I was when the first record comes out. Most people go, "Oh, it was your prime," and I'm like, I was an idiot then. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to control my voice. I'd blow it out every 3 songs, and like it's taken all these years to, I guess, me to get comfortable with what I do. And it's like the first time, like in like the past 2 or 3 years, I feel comfortable on stage, like performing. And I used to play guitar because I wasn't confident as a front guy, and I wasn't confident as a guitar player, so I did both. So I kind of half-assed both of it. And so now I've just really got into just going on stage. I get to basically dress up like a He-Man or a G.I. Joe character in my mind. I've created all these different costumes and look, and it all comes from toys. Every bit of it. It's all villain like stuff, and so that's my favorite part of the show now. Or all day is just waiting to dress up and go on stage and act like an idiot with a soundtrack behind me, and that makes it fun. I get to dress up every day.
Well, because I could tell just, you know, from talking to you and watching other interviews with you, like, are these characters like extensions of your personal self, or is it kind of like a way to escape reality?
A lot of these characters are, you know, it's not that I feel like an idiot saying their character, but the costumes and the mask and things like that, like they're all inspired by different, like I said, toys and things I grew up on. I still am a huge He-Man, you know, Masters of the Universe. I even had my record a few albums ago called Monsters of the Universe. So I kind of look like a rock and roll Skeletor, you know, on stage. It's kind of one of my looks I do. I have like a hook hand. There was a He-Man that had a hook hand named Trapjaw. So I kind of look like him and Skeletor mixed together for a couple songs, and then I look like the devil for a couple of songs, and then I have a mask of my own face that I wear, and then people will go, "Oh my God, it's a freaky mask." I'm like, "That's my face." And I go, "Oh, I didn't know," you know. So, so the masks that I wear on stage are a mask of my face. They're just like different colors and half, so they fit exactly to my face, so it doesn't really feel like I'm wearing a mask. It's a little bit hotter. It's like a giant pair of sunglasses.
Does the art of performing change depending on what character you are in? Like, do you adjust how you sing or play the songs or anything like that?
I don't know. There's certain vibes at night, like when the crowd's really into it and you have a good sound and the lights are awesome. You know, I can get into it a little more, and you know, because like I've been doing this thing now where I paint myself and I don't really see it until I'm on stage, and then I'm look down and I'm like glowing like some sort of weird tree frog, and I'll start staring down at myself and I go, "Whoa, I look weird. What if I started acting like a frog?" And I start crawling around on stage. So like I'll literally kind of black out and start crawling around the stage like an idiot, and I feel stupid, but I'll watch videos and it just looks weird. So I just get on stage and be an idiot for however long our set is. It's so much fun. I got bored for a while, and now I'm excited about playing again. So
It's better. So you're more of a performer than like a studio. Like you prefer playing on stage
I
versus.
hate the studio. I mean, I love making records and stuff, but it's like building a house. You're just like, okay, I just want to move in and live in it already. You know,
That's a great analogy.
yeah. So making the record's part of it. You have to do it, but I'd rather just, you know, I'm ready to move in and fucking put my posters on the wall.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time. Yeah, just so you're doing this tour right now with Cradle of Filth and Raven Black. Is there just anything else that you would like to promote with the new record? You said the record's coming out in September.
Yeah, it's coming out later this year, September. We'll be releasing that date soon. And new album's called Necrophase, and it's the next chapter. It's the next Wednesday 13. So it's all new and I think improved. Some people may not say that. We'll find out. Awesome. I guess they'll let us know on that internet.
Awesome.
I don't like you. my best thing from the last record, someone saw the comments on the new video, and like the fourth or fifth comment was, "Is that old woman still around?" My favorite one. Keep them coming.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I love internet comments.
Is that old woman still around? That's amazing.
You should check all the internet comments again and just try to make it into a lyric.
Oh, man, people don't realize I get lyrics out of, like, my first album was called Transylvania Songs of Death, Dying, and the Dead. Was from an article that someone made fun of me. It said that my lyrical palette was nothing beyond death, dying, and the dead. It was basically just saying I was an idiot and all I could sing about was, so I took that and made it my album title. So sometimes the insults are the best album titles and song lyrics, so I welcome it all. But I do prefer nice comments better.
We'll use the hatred as your armor, not your anchor.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
But everybody, we are here with Wednesday 13. New music coming soon. We will see you next time on Heavy New York.